My name is Lena. I live in a suburb of Chicago, where everything seems calm and measured. From an early age, I dreamed of family and love, and it seemed that I found it with Alex. We've been together for almost 10 years now, but recently I started to feel like something was going out of our lives. The memories of the beginning of our relationship are warming, but the present seems cold and far away. Alex started staying late at work more often, and we talked less and less in the evenings. I tried to figure out what was going on, but he was withdrawing into himself. Our conversations became short and formal. I felt like I was alone in our shared house. There is a new employee at work, Michael. He was attentive and sincere, and gradually we started spending more time together, discussing more than just projects. I felt the support that was so lacking at home. Michael has become a better listener for me. At first, I thought it was just friendship. But with every conversation and every meeting, I realized that I felt more for Michael than just sympathy. An inner voice warned me, but I remained silent, afraid of losing at least something of what I had. One day, after a busy day, we were left alone in the office. Michael offered me a cup of coffee, and the conversation turned personal. At that moment, I made the mistake of allowing myself to be weak and open. It changed everything. Alex noticed that I was different. I tried to hide my feelings, but the truth soon came out. He was shattered. We both knew that our bond wasn't as strong as it used to be. Unanswered questions plagued us both. I started asking myself the most difficult questions. Why did I let cheating happen? What was I missing? This period became a time of painful reflection and attempts to understand oneself. Alex and I decided to try to save the marriage, but it was difficult. Every step was difficult, every conversation was painful. Forgiveness seemed like a distant dream, but neither of us wanted to give up. While we were trying to establish a relationship, I realized that I had to find myself, my value and independence. It was my main task not to lose myself in the drama and pain. Step by step, we began to rebuild trust, but I knew our path would never be the same. It was the beginning of a new chapter in my life, where the past is not forgotten, but does not control me. After Alex and I made the decision to work on our marriage, it was time for difficult conversations. We were sitting in the kitchen of our house, me, him, and the silence that seemed louder than any words. Alex didn't know where to start, and I was afraid to reopen the wound. We agreed to go to family therapy. It was unusual. For the first time, an outsider intervened in our relationship, listened to our fears and told us about our mistakes. But it was there that I realized that I wasn't the only one to blame for the breakup. Alex was also tired of the constant work, the pressure, and his own tiredness, which he hid behind a cold silence. This time was a test for us. We learned to hear each other again, we learned not to avoid difficult topics. I began to notice in Alex not just a man, but a man with his fears and pain. And it brought us closer. While my husband and I were trying to rebuild our relationship, Michael remained in my life, but now in a different capacity, colleagues who now communicated less frequently outside of work. Sometimes I caught myself thinking that my feelings for him were still alive, but now they weren't so sharp and confusing. Meetings with Michael became a mirror of my inner feelings. He asked questions that helped me understand myself. Thanks to this, I was able to accept myself with mistakes and worries, to understand that the past does not always determine the future. This whole situation couldn't stay a secret for long. My parents were worried, they looked for reasons and pressed me with advice. I felt their pain and condemnation, and it added a burden to my heart. Alex also received support from his loved ones, but he felt increasingly isolated. My husband and I realized that in order to move on, we need to stop looking back at other people's opinions. It was difficult because the traditions and opinions of the older generation are always important in the family. But that's what helped us get closer. Trust is the most fragile element in a relationship. I knew it would be difficult to get him back. I tried to be open and honest every day, even when it hurt. Alex also tried to show more care and attention. We started planning small pleasures together, walks in the park, dinners together, watching movies. It helped remind us why we were together. Slowly but surely, we were building a new foundation for our love. The time of therapy and reflection has taught me an important thing. I must love and respect myself in order to be happy in a relationship. I started doing yoga, reading books about self-development, and even enrolled in painting courses. It was my little personal journey, returning to myself, to my dreams and goals. Alex supported me in this, and it brought us even closer together. Sometimes at night I had doubts and fears. Would everything collapse again? Would Alex leave for someone else? These thoughts were like shadows that haunted me. I shared them with my husband, and we learned how to deal with insecurity together. We realized that the past is not a verdict, but an experience. And only we decide whether it will be a teacher or a prison. The first weekend together after the crisis was a small victory for us. We went to a friend's country house, away from the hustle and bustle of work. There we just enjoyed the silence, the conversations, and each other's company. It was a reminder that love is not only about big gestures, but also about simple moments when you are with someone you care about. We started talking about the future. We dreamed of traveling, planned repairs, and discussed children. It was unexpected to see hope growing between us again. I realized that even after such trials it is possible to build new dreams. The main thing is not to be afraid to meet each other halfway. Of course, things didn't get perfect. There were days when the pain and resentment returned. But now we knew that we could talk about it and look for solutions together. It was important not to gloss over the problems, but to face them face to face. Each quarrel became a lesson for us, not a reason to break up. In the end, I realized the main thing: love is not always easy and cloudless. It's about work, understanding, and acceptance. And sometimes mistakes are not the end, but the beginning of a new life. I am grateful for that period, which taught me to be stronger, more honest and real. Now I know that the main thing is not to be afraid to be yourself and go towards the one you love. Despite all the changes, old habits, and unresolved problems sometimes came to the surface. Alex started staying late at work again, and instead of just waiting and getting angry, I started looking for what was behind his departure. We learned to speak honestly about our fears, worries, and expectations. One evening, I received an unexpected message from Michael. He asked me how I was doing and suggested we meet for coffee, just to talk, without pressure and difficulties. I hesitated, but decided to agree. It was important for me to close this stage in my life in order to move on. In the cafe, we talked for a long time, about life, mistakes, and the fact that we can no longer be who we used to be. Michael said he wished me happiness and that our story had been a lesson for both of us. This conversation helped me let go of the past and stop regretting what happened. Alex and I decided to have a family weekend without phones and work. It was difficult, but great. We walked, played board games, and just enjoyed each other. I felt that small moments were becoming the foundation of our new story. Balancing my career and my personal life has been a difficult challenge for me. Sometimes the work took too much energy, and I noticed that I was starting to withdraw into myself again. Alex helped me find time to relax, reminding me of the importance of taking care of myself. One day Alex gave me a surprise dinner at home. He cooked my favorite dishes and played music to which we danced in the living room, laughing and forgetting about the problems. This evening has become for me a symbol of our rebirth. I met up with my friends to share what's going on in my life. Their support was important. They did not condemn, but simply listened and helped to look at the situation from different angles. It filled me with strength and confidence. At work, I was offered to lead an important project. It was a challenge, but I decided to accept it. The work gave me a sense of importance and allowed me to escape from difficult emotions. Alex was proud of me and supported my aspirations. In the midst of the changes, I found out that my best friend was pregnant. This caused me mixed feelings, joy and anxiety for the future. We talked about this for a long time, and I realized how important it is to open up to loved ones and accept life in all its manifestations. Alex and I continued to learn to forgive, not only each other, but also ourselves. It was a long and difficult journey, but it was forgiveness that gave us the opportunity to look to the future without fear and resentment. Now I know that love is not an ideal, but a choice that we make every day.